Whoa, didn't see you there. Welcome, everybody. Day two of the regular fan show hosted by fans for fans here on YouTube, Twitch, wherever else we're live streaming, Twitter. And thank you guys for joining us. It's a beautiful Wednesday morning here, January 8th. Now, we won't usually be live on Wednesdays. This week, we're running a bit of an audible. Most weeks, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. This week, you'll find us today. We'll be back live again on Saturday with more of our amateur sports takes from guys who were not pro athletes. We were not even collegiate athletes. I don't even know if I'd
I don't,
call us amateur athletes.
hey man, I don't know. I was intramural, dude. I kind of went crazy.
Intramural athletes. We're a couple of intramural athletes who act like we know what we're talking about. So thank you for tuning in. Me, Vinny Fredericks, my guy, Bruce Juno. What's going on, buddy? How you doing this morning?
Oh, we're living, laughing, loving, my brother. I'm always excited and stoked to talk about some sports, especially with you over here. Yesterday
Love
we
it.
yesterday we cooked. We went crazy. I was told by a fan that I sounded like I was in the tuna can or something like that. So we got the mic fixed.
There we go.
I thought this thing would be a lot better because it's a real mic. I was wrong.
Yeah. You
So
looked much more professional than I did yesterday.
I was about to say, maybe I'll just do this. Maybe I'll
There you go.
have
Yeah,
it like
yeah,
here.
have it up like you're really talking into it, and then just don't turn it, too far so nobody sees the AirPod in your
Yeah, exactly. We'll
ear.
put the hood up. No one will know, right? No one will know.
Exactly. No one will know. Got a
That's the
great
thing.
show lined up for you guys today. NFL coaching carousel is hot. Plenty of open seats in the head coaching room for a few NFL teams. Me and Bruce are going to dive into some of those teams and some of the other teams that did not make the playoffs and what we think they should do to improve their chances coming back next year. We got a big NBA scene, couple big games last night, one big game tonight in the Cavs and the Thunder that we'll preview. We'll get into the Jimmy Butler saga because you guys see the Miami Heat jersey behind me. I'll have some opinions on that. And of course, you see the Florida Gators merch. Took down number one, Tennessee. So we'll dive into that later on in the hour. But first, Bruce, I see you've got, what is that, an Avalanche jersey on?
It's the Canadians jersey, my boy.
Canadians. Okay. All right. So what made you put the
Uh,
jersey on today?
Dude, so we suck. But on the on a higher note, I mean, a couple days ago we were in a playoff spot, a wild card spot, which is it's like I'm finally
A gift
seeing
from
the
the heavens.
signs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're not right now, but we also have had a couple days off. So, another win bounces right back up there. So I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I am feeling good about the squad, about the boys, young team, looking good. We're gonna rep them.
All right, hey, you're getting your hopes up, but fingers crossed for your Canadians over there. I know my Islanders not looking too hot this year, but hey, it's all right. Still plenty of time left in the season. They'll bounce back. I got a feeling.
Yeah, just totally not bottom of the Atlantic.
Yeah, they're not the worst of the worst, but as long as they beat the Rangers, that's all that matters. And they still
Yeah,
probably won't. But
and
what are
they
you
they
gonna
they're
do?
not doing too hot either. I like how I'm still leaning into this mic as if I'm talking into this mic right now.
See, exactly. It's having it physically there. It looks more professional. Everyone thinks you're using it, but we'll stop talking about it. So now no one will
Yeah,
even know.
no,
If anybody
no.
joined the stream within the last 10 seconds, nobody will even know.
Yep, I'm just
But
professional.
exactly, we're just a couple of professionals. As you see, I'm literally broadcasting live in my dining room. And,
Yeah,
we're
I'm
getting the job done. A little makeshift setup over here. All right, let's get into it, Bruce. As we teased, NFL coaching carousel. There's currently 6 NFL head coaching vacancies: Chicago Bears, Jacksonville Jaguars, Las Vegas Raiders, New England Patriots, which I know you know about, Bruce, New Orleans Saints, and the New York Jets. So let's start out with your team, Bruce, the New England Patriots, as they fired Gerard Mayo after only 1 year, goes 4-13. What are your thoughts on the Gerard Mayo firing? I know some Pats fans that have been calling for him to get fired since halfway through the season. So were you one of those fans that knew it was time for him to go?
See, I wasn't. He was put like I mean, when Robert Kraft he gave his little spiel about how it's all my fault. Like Gerard's a good coach. He was put into a bad situation. Yeah, I mean he's not wrong. And then he went on to say like he just needed more time and all this other random crap. But I personally I wish he had a couple more seasons to work with, just because you threw a guy into a terrible situation. Um, got a good starting quarterback despite the fact that you started Jacoby Brissett.
Hmm.
I don't even wanna get into that again, but
I mean, that alone could have called for his firing, not starting Drake May right away.
that's what I'm saying. It was I mean, yeah, that was a negative, and I get where his aspirations were at, but a guy that's been bounced around the league and been on every team in the league, you don't start a guy behind him because clearly he doesn't know what he's doing. That's just plain and simple, but, I mean, when it comes to the coaching carousel, I feel everyone knows or at least has an idea that probably one of the top options is Mike Vrabel. It's
Yeah,
kind
I mean, he's got to be the hottest coach in the market right now,
Yeah,
most
and I feel like
experienced.
the Patriots kinda link, if you will. I feel
Yeah,
like
they're
it's
in
definitely
cahoots, if
something.
you will.
Yeah, and they interviewed him. They did interview him. But like you said, he's gonna be a popular interview, during the
That is
hiring
true.
cycle for any team. He didn't do too or he did alright, he did alright with Tennessee. I mean, I think I'm not gonna say he did great with
Yeah, they
Tennessee,
won a
but
couple divisions. You know,
yeah, yeah,
they were
he I mean,
certainly playoff team when he was there.
he was definitely like, he's a good coach. I would say he's a good coach. Um, but yeah, I mean, I feel like that's kind of a given that he's probably one of the front runners for that job. Definitely someone the Patriots want, definitely someone I feel like Robert Kraft wants.
Hmm.
Um, and it's just gonna come down to decisions because they did interview him. I'm like 95% sure they did interview him. I
Yeah,
also
yeah, they
saw
did.
that at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So who knows if I'm right on that? But yeah, like, and he'd be coming into a young team. He'd have kind of the same situation as Gerard would, but at the same time, Gerard's first season was with Drake. He was jumped into a young team, whereas now they kind of have that mesh of young guys that have that key role set on offense with Drake May. They didn't really have that um, before this year, obviously, because he was a
Yeah.
rookie. So I mean, I feel like he can make do with what he's got. Get some good draft picks. Got the fourth overall.
Hmm.
Either get a O lineman or a wide receiver, whatnot. But I definitely think he's
Yeah,
the he's
yeah.
the
Well,
front runner.
we talked about that yesterday. Where the Patriots will go in the draft, especially if we all expected they were going to get Travis Hunter before Week 18, and then they beat the Buffalo Bills, fall all the way to number 4. Who knows what's going to happen with that? But we did have some differing takes there. Of course, you were going the route of them taking Tetero McMillan from Arizona, the wide receiver, which would be a good pick. I'm certainly not against that at all. I was thinking offensive tackle from Texas, Kelvin Banks Jr. to protect Drake May. Either way, whatever route they go, they're getting a great player at number 4.
Yeah,
And whoever they hire as their head coach, I think you got to find someone that you at least are confident in for the next 3 seasons. If they have a bad year in their first year, fine. Give them, one more year to get another pick, get some more players, figure things out. Let's not forget the Patriots have the most cap space in the NFL too, going into free agency here.
yeah.
So they've got
I
plenty of options. They got plenty of guys they can go for in free agency. And there's already some big names talking about wanting to, enter free agency and see what else is out there. So the Patriots, they got a lot of good things going for them, but I don't want to see them hire a guy and then do the same thing next offseason where they have a bad year, fire this guy. And I don't see them doing that with Mike Vrabel. So I think if they get Vrabel, you're going to see him there for at least 3-4 years, which might be the best thing for Drake May and his career. Another guy that is certainly a hot commodity in the coaching market, Lions offensive coordinator Ben Johnson. We know the Patriots are expected to interview him as well, and I think he's is as good as Vrabel is. He's got the experience. He's won before. I think Ben Johnson is the best coach on the market right now, and whatever team can sign
Yeah.
him we're going to see a big turnaround for him. But everybody's going for Ben Johnson. The Patriots, the Raiders, I believe, are expected to interview him. I think we're going to find, as we're looking through these 6 teams with coaching vacancies, we're going to find a lot of the options that they're interviewing or requesting to interview pretty much the same names every single time. As you know, we'll talk about the Chicago Bears. Chicago Bears fired Matt Eberflus halfway through the season. First time in their history that they fired a head coach mid-year, and they just got the number 1 pick in Caleb Williams, and they can't even get a full year out of a head coach. So same thing as the Drake May situation. If you're going to hire a coach in Chicago, get someone that you're confident in that can take maybe 1 or 2 years and have a couple building years, and then by year 3, 4, and 5, turn that team into a real juggernaut. But some interesting names do pop up. Of course, Mike Vrabel, Ben Johnson. The Bears are also expected to interview former Seahawks head coach Pete Carroll. And he's a name that I've seen tossed around very little here in this coaching carousel. But again, former Super Bowl winning coach, certainly still in the NFL area. He's been working as an executive and kind of an advice giver for the Seahawks the last few years since relieving head coaching duties. I think Pete Carroll would be a great pickup, but not a lot of teams are looking at him. So the Chicago Bears, should they miss out on a guy like Vrabel and Johnson, I think Pete Carroll is a perfect pivot for him.
And yeah, I agree. I mean, obviously Pete Carroll's he made his mark on the league. Like there's no doubts about it. A lot of people, lost some respect for him in his later years in the league, but at the same time, he's Pete Carroll. Like you can't just go that can't go unnoticed.
Exactly.
So that's obviously I feel like that he if he wants to come back, I feel like he will come back. But another coach that I feel like could go the way of the Bears, Cliff Kingsbury.
Ooh.
I feel like because Cliff Kingsbury was at USC, if my knowledge,
he did coach Caleb Williams.
Yeah, he coached for a year, and then he's also had. I don't know why I'm second guessing myself this morning.
Bruce, you know your stuff. Come on,
I know my stuff.
We're intramural athletes. We know what we're talking about.
So yeah, I mean, like we were saying yesterday, he's got the weapons. Like on offense, it's just helping out Caleb. He's helped out Caleb before in college. As Keenan Allen, as DeAndre Swift, DJ Moore, yada yada, Rome Odunze. The lineup goes on, and he's proved himself in the league too. He's worked with Kyler, he's worked with Mahomes, he's worked with Baker. You know what I mean? Jaden Daniels.
He's turned around the career of some of these QBs.
Exactly, and it's I mean Cliff's. He's a notable name in the league. It's not as big as Pete Carroll, but Cliff Kingsbury's he's put his own mark on the league. It's just not as big as Carroll's.
Yeah, absolutely. Cliff Kingsbury would be a great pickup for those Chicago Bears because, like you said, they have the weapons. What they need is a system in place. And I bring this up, I'm spitting this out every time we talk about young quarterbacks. Give them some sort of system that they can be consistent in and, really grow. You give a rookie quarterback or a quarterback 2-3 years in the league, you give them a new head coach every single year, they're never going to get better. So if you, especially a guy, you're basically sold your franchise for Caleb Williams. All right. He's your number 1 pick. He's your guy for the next 5-10 years. You can't have another Justin Fields or another Mitch Trubisky that you try out for a few years and then you're right back to square one. No. This is supposed to be the guy that takes your franchise back to the promised land. So you get him a coach that he can connect with and really succeed with, and we'll see the Chicago Bears team improve. They also need to get some offensive linemen. You need to get some big boys up front that can actually block for Caleb Williams and give him more than 3 seconds in the pocket. Because, I mean, some of the
3 seconds is generous.
Yeah, you're right. 3 seconds is generous. I'm thinking more like 1.3 seconds in the pocket is what he really had. So Chicago Bears, just like the Patriots, I would say, a lot of potential, but they got a lot of things that they need to work on before, and it's very clear what the issues they need to work on is: coaching, offensive line help. And we'll see if they end up. I know Jerry Jones denied their request. They did request to interview Mike McCarthy from the Dallas Cowboys. They denied that request, so it looks like the Dallas Cowboys are retaining Mike McCarthy.
I mean, we'll see. We'll see after today. His contract's up today, so we'll see I guess what
Yeah.
happens.
And you probably noticed the despair in my voice as I had to say that because
Yeah.
listen,
I mean,
I don't think Mike McCarthy's a bad guy. I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he would actually be a good fit in Chicago with Caleb Williams. And the guy has had good regular seasons in Dallas. He's won one playoff game, maybe two. I'm pretty sure he's
yeah,
only won one playoff game
yeah.
in
I'm pretty
Dallas,
sure it's
though.
been one. It's
And it's been 4 or 5 years of it. It's not like he's had bad talent. The Cowboys going in every year have some of the best talent in the league, and then they go out there and I mean, this year was you could tell from the start that this team was nowhere near as talented as years past. But last few seasons, especially you look at last year, Dak was an MVP candidate. Everybody's healthy for the most part. You still have, not the best running game, but you still have a running back in Tony Pollard. And then you get bounced first round to the Green Bay Packers. And then this season is an absolute train wreck. So, that's another team we'll discuss when we're talking about non-playoff teams and how to improve. But I don't know if Mike McCarthy is still the guy for Dallas, but it's looking like he is here to stay. Unfortunate for some of us Cowboys fans, but it is what it is. And again, thank you everybody for tuning in to the regular fan show by the fans for the fans. If you're on YouTube, be sure to hit that like button. It only takes a few seconds of your time, but it goes a long way in getting our streams out there on more people's YouTube pages and getting us a much broader audience. So we thank you for your unwilling support. As we move on here, Jacksonville Jaguars fired.
and I just want to jump in real quick. And if
No,
you're
jump
on
on in.
Twitch as well, drop a follow.
Yes,
Drop a
yes,
follow. And YouTube. Drop a subscription.
absolutely.
Subscribe to the lives.
Absolutely. Subscribe and then
Cool.
you'll get the notifications. Turn those notifications on.
Yeah.
so
Ding
the
that
alarm going
bell.
on.
Ding that bell. And then, yeah.
Ding that bell. That's good. That's good. Our
Ding
quote
that
for the
bell.
day. Ding that bell. Turn those notifications on because we'll be live at least 3 times a week here on the Regular Fan Show. As I mentioned, Jacksonville Jaguars fired Doug Peterson. And this is another interesting coaching fire because you could look at the Jaguars season as a bit of a down year, but they had a lot of injuries too. You lose Trevor Lawrence for half the season. The season's a wash at that point. I think the Jaguars.
Mac Jones. Mac Jones.
Yeah, we know all about Mac Jones. But the Jaguars, man, they're not a bad option. If you want to rank the teams that don't have head coaches as far as what's the best place to go to and what's one of the worst, I think the Jaguars are still a pretty solid place to go to. They have some weapons on offense still. Brian Thomas looked like a stud pickup. I wanted the Cowboys to draft him. He did not fall to them. Jaguars get him. He's looked phenomenal. One of the better rookie receivers this year. You have Trevor Lawrence coming back from injury next year. Travis Etienne had a real bad year, but Tank Bigsby came up big time and showed that he's got plenty of potential in the league. Jaguars just need defensive help. That's really it. They already have Trayvon Walker at the edge, so they have a good defensive end that can get them. I would just like to apologize on behalf of. I guess this is what happens when you do live shows. Please, excuse me for one moment while I tend to the matter at hand. Bruce, Jacksonville Jaguars, I leave them with you. What are you doing?
I'll take it away. Well, when it comes to the Jags, obviously we spoke. They need help defensively. Probably one of the worst defenses in the league. I mean, they have some talent there, but at the
guilty party. The guilty party, everybody.
But at the same time, actually, no. What are we barking at? What are we barking at?
Dude, I don't even know. You know when those like unmarked vans come around to do package deliveries? Like it's not FedEx, it's not Amazon. It's just one of those unmarked vans.
Just some random guy in a van.
Yeah, some random guy in a white van pulled up. Let's see, dropped off a package. Not sure where it's from. Certainly isn't one of mine. And when you have a little yapper dog like that, she'll bark at anything. I was waiting. I was surprised yesterday we got on through the whole hour with none of that because she was over there sleeping on the couch the whole time. It was a blessing. So I knew that at some point our streak was going to come to an end.
Hey, we better get it out
Yeah.
early. Better get it out early.
Exactly. Now we know for next time how
Yeah,
to
exactly.
go about that. Yeah, I'm talking about you. But
Anyway, back to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Nice little break. Nice little pause we had going there. I feel like the Jags, obviously defensively needs a lot of help. And that's why as I was saying, like they have some bright spots on defense, but they're also probably one of the worst defenses in the league. So I feel like
Mhm.
someone who's not getting as much attention as Ben Johnson is the DC, Aaron Glenn.
It's a good
I
point.
feel like Aaron Glenn could be a perfect. He's proved himself more than enough
Yeah,
in Detroit this
look
year
at
with the amount of injuries and then
at
still being a top
exactly
defense.
what I was about to say. And next man up, they still find ways to get stops. It's been impressive, and they are expected to interview Aaron Glenn
Yep.
and Ben Johnson. I think, like
Yeah.
I said, everybody's going to interview Ben Johnson. Everybody's going to interview Mike Vrabel. But when you look at a guy like Aaron Glenn, now we're getting into some names that aren't popping up for every single team, and you can really start to pinpoint certain guys because Vrabel can only pick one team, Johnson can only pick one team.
Yeah.
Where do those teams that don't get those top candidates, where do they pivot to from there? That's why it's important to look at the names outside of those top two because everybody wants Johnson and Vrabel or Kingsbury, but you might end up with an Aaron Glenn or names that I'm seeing thrown around, Kellen Moore, the Eagles offensive coordinator, Todd
Yeah.
Monken, the Ravens offensive coordinator, Robert
Joe
Saleh,
Brady,
former Jets head coach, is a name that's been thrown around, especially for these teams that are
Rex
struggling on
Ryan.
well, we bring up Rex Ryan. Let's jump to the New York Jets here because, again, another team, head coaching vacancy. I think they're an okay spot to land, but there's too many question marks surrounding this team and Aaron
There
Rodgers.
shouldn't be, though. There shouldn't be. You look at this roster, there should not be any question marks. You
Yeah,
should
but
be
look how
wanting
they
to go to this
played this
team.
year.
I know, but you should be wanting to go to this team like no questions asked. And then they post the season they posted, and they
I
look like
know.
a dumpster fire with
I
the
know.
roster they have is
They did look like a
absolutely
dumpster
insane.
fire. And now
So
you've got Garrett Wilson saying that he doesn't even necessarily want Aaron Rodgers back or insinuating that to the media. It seems like if you go to the Jets, you're only getting yourself into a headache.
yeah,
It
I
doesn't
mean,
seem like a great situation to go to, and they still don't have a GM either.
I say Rex Ryan, all you. That's my opinion. You want it so bad, go for it.
For
Like,
the nostalgia factor.
yeah, just literally just swing it, dude. Just get in there, do what you got to do. No more Candyland for Aaron Rodgers.
Yep, we're not doing
All
the
you,
Aaron
buddy.
Rodgers Country Club.
Yep,
I guess
no more Country Club.
Rex Ryan would be one of the better candidates because he wants to be there. If the
For
Jets
some
go
reason.
into this, yeah, exactly, for whatever reason. If the Jets go into this whole process thinking, all right, we can get a Vrabel or a Johnson, and then it doesn't happen, at that point, Rex Ryan might turn around and say, all right, screw you guys. I'm going back to my insider job at ESPN. I gave you the chance. I told you I wanted to be there. You wanted someone else. I'm not going to be your backup choice. So it's almost like for the Jets, Rex Ryan's making them play their hand. He's making them say, "Do you want me here or not?" And I don't know. This is also a guy that hasn't coached in the NFL in 10 years,
Yeah.
and who knows if his systems that he would put in place would even still work in today's NFL, where you keep seeing all these brilliant-minded offensive coordinators. I mean, just look at the Detroit Lions this year, for example. Some of the random ass plays that they run, the fake fumble the snap and then find someone wide open in the end zone. The offensive linemen are catching passes. It's actually ridiculous.
That's true. I
Yes,
mean,
Mr. Donovan. No bigger joke than Rex Ryan. I mean, I
give
think
give him the job. Who cares?
But like,
At this point, who cares with this franchise? If there
Well,
was a
Jets.
minor
Yeah,
league, they would be there. Just let whoever wants to do it just do it at this point. Because there's been too much effort put into this team to not be good.
I know, but it's so. I guess you make a point. The people that actually want to sign up for this headache, it makes sense. Some of the other names that the Jets are expected to interview, you've got Vikings defensive coordinator Brian Flores. I think that's a name that would be good there. Bills offensive coordinator Joe Brady, who you mentioned earlier, Bruce. Chiefs offensive coordinator Matt Nagy. So there's plenty of names here. A Vikings QB coach Josh McCown. There's a lot of names that the Jets are throwing out that they're planning on interviewing that you don't see with a lot of other teams. So at least they have backup options should they fumble this whole Rex Ryan gig.
Somehow.
I mean, we want to dive into a little bit how to fix this team. I don't know what you could do because we don't know if Aaron Rodgers is even going to be on the team next year. I think that's the first question that they need to figure out is can we convince the younger guys on that team? Yes, DJ. I got a haircut, got a fresh lineup. Somebody slid up on my story yesterday on Instagram, and a good buddy of mine, Joey, goes, "You had your debut show and you had dirt on your face." I was like, I thought the mustache looked good, but I guess not. So we went clean shaven today, got the fresh haircut. This is honestly what I should have done yesterday before the show, just to start off fresh. But hey, what are you
It'd
gonna
be what it
do?
be, and it is what it is.
If you don't love me at my dirt lip and scruffy face, you don't deserve me at my clean face. But anyway, yeah. I'll let you handle the beard, Bruce. You got it. You got it nice and full in there.
Yeah, it
One
needs a
day when
little
I grow
trim,
up,
but
I'll get
we'll
one like
yeah.
when I
One
grow
day,
up, I'll have a beard like that.
yeah. When you get as old as I am, you start getting facial hair.
Oh man. Anyways, New York Jets. Listen, when it comes to this
Dumpster
team,
fire.
I exactly a dumpster fire. It's so tough because Aaron Rodgers still thinks he can play at a high level and lead a team to the playoffs. At what point do you tell this guy, listen, dude, you're 40 and maybe he can get Mark
You're not
Sanchez
that
to
guy,
come?
pal. You're not that guy. He
I
just
know he
wants to
thinks
be
he can.
Brady. He wants to be Brady so much,
Yeah, I mean,
and he
we saw
can't.
Brady was able to do it in Tampa. Aaron
Yeah,
Rodgers, I don't know. He doesn't have the arm strength anymore. He's I respect Aaron Rodgers for the way he came into the league. It was stuck in the draft for a while, thinking he was going to get picked. Didn't get picked till way later than anticipated, and he made the most of it. Came into a team that already had a starting quarterback, waited for his time. Now at this stage of his career, he's become a headache for this organization. He's making mistakes on plays, missing open receivers, and then yelling at the receivers for it, and
on and off the field.
throwing his teammates under the bus. It's the New York Jets right now, you have a real tough decision to make because you're too far down in the draft to draft a quarterback. But there are plenty of quarterbacks that I think are still good that will fall to the second and third rounds. Your Quinn Ewers, your Jalen Milrose, your Carson Becks. The
Kyle
name is
McCord's.
escaping me. Kyle McCord, yup, Dylan Gabriel, Riley Leonard. There's a lot of good quarterbacks in this draft not named Cam Ward and Shedeur Sanders.
Yeah,
So I think if Aaron Rodgers would actually, take some accountability and say, listen, I have maybe 1 year left of high quality football. I know I'm at the end of my career. Draft one of these guys in the second or third round. I'll be here for one more season. Favre did for me, and I did for Jordan Love. And there you go. You have your QB of the future, hopefully with a new head coach that he can grow with. I don't think Aaron Rodgers is willing to do that. I think Aaron Rodgers still wants to be the guy, and we might see. He was very mature about when he got drafted, and Brett Favre was still the starter. He was mature about the Packers drafting Jordan Love and staying a little
hmm
bit to coach him up. I don't know if we still get that at 42 years old. If he's going to be willing to, he's certainly not willing to sit on the bench.
yeah.
So
It's
if they go out and get another quarterback, what does that say to Aaron Rodgers? But I don't think the Jets can afford to wait one more year to get a new quarterback. Like you said, Bruce, absolute dumpster fire.
it's crazy. But we can talk about the Jets the whole show, but I think we should move on a little bit here.
We really could. It honestly would take a few shows for us to figure out how to fix the New
Yeah.
York Jets.
We could get like a family tree of like what goes wrong and just like fill up one of those really big whiteboards you have in high school.
Starts with Woody Johnson and him having to say his 14-year-old son doesn't make decisions for the team.
Yeah.
But real quick to wrap up this little segment, other teams searching for head coaches: New Orleans Saints expected to interview Mike Vrabel, Aaron Glenn, David Shaw, the Stanford coach. So we're seeing some college coaches getting some love. Las Vegas Raiders, only name that's been thrown out for them as guys that they're expected to hire or expected to interview is Brian Flores, Vikings defensive coordinator. So,
and I mean, I could see just a quick side note on the Raiders is I could see them also having an opportunity at Vrabel due to the Tom Brady situation, because Tom Brady's in the search as well for a head coach, which is so I feel like that's another option for Vrabel would be the Raiders, but
yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I think we touched on most of the non-playoff teams. I guess a couple real quick that are pretty easy fixes. You look at a team like the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
Fix your defense. And I mean literally draft all defense.
Yep.
Maybe
same with the Jags. I was gonna say same with the Jags. You get T-Law back. Just clean up the defense.
Yep. Clean up the defense. That'll make their life so much easier. Cowboys, I don't even know what they could do. Get a running back. Draft Ashton Genty at number 12. I don't care that running backs are a dime a dozen, and you could get maybe like a Cam Scatterbo later on in the second round or something. Get Ashton Genty. That guy is generational, and build up the O-line around him. It'll make Dak's life easier. It'll make CeeDee Lamb's life easier. Just figure something out. But some of these teams are real headaches to try to figure out. Like the Tennessee Titans. Yeah. Where do the Titans go from here? I mean, they're going to draft a quarterback at number 1. What else can they really do to make Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders' life that much easier? I mean, they're one team that isn't looking for a new head coach. They are, however, looking for a new general manager.
Yeah, they're in a weird situation. I mean, they have some weapons on offense. Like they have Westbrook-Ikhine. They have
Tony Pollard.
They have Tony Pollard.
They have one main wide receiver. That's the other thing. You got to get some wide out help for whatever quarterback you draft. They probably need some O-line help as well.
They got Chiggy Okonkwo at tight end. I like him. I don't know why.
Always
I like
good
him,
to have a security blanket.
Yeah, they're in a sticky situation. They need a couple seasons. I feel like they're gonna get the quarterback. Yeah. And I mean, hey, if they get Ward, they get Sanders, and they're able to open up the field and have better vision, then maybe the guys they have is fine. But I would definitely
wouldn't get their hopes up too much. They might get a quarterback 1, but still got a long ways to go.
Yeah, I would draft around. Honestly, I would get a. You're gonna get your quarterback, and then I'd look defensively second round or whatnot, and then maybe get someone offensively.
Yep. Just you got to look around free agency too. You got to be active when, especially, you don't know if a guy like T. Higgins is going to be available, since the Bengals most likely can't pay him. We talked about the Tyreek Hill situation. Not that I would anticipate him wanting to go to Tennessee, but there's other names out there that you just got to pay attention to try to upgrade this team. As far as a team like, say, the Cleveland Browns, another team that I don't know where they go from here. I don't necessarily. I mean, they have the opportunity to draft a quarterback at number 2, but they're locked in with Deshaun Watson for at least the next 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's another one where it's a sticky situation. You're gonna need a couple of years, and it sucks that your couple of years you're stuck with one singular quarterback who's subpar at best. I mean, he has his moments. Don't get me wrong. He had his 470-yard game, but
nowadays, and obviously the fans have turned on him. They were ready and willing to have Jameis Winston be the new starting quarterback. And honestly, I think Jameis Winston is the best quarterback in the league in terms of pregame hype speeches.
Oh yeah,
I
he's the
mean,
man. He's the man at
his
that.
interviews.
Wasn't
Oh
it
man,
wasn't it JMO that was it JMO that had the 470-yard game, or was it Deshaun?
it probably was Jameis Winston.
I
He
think it
loves to
was
sling the
Jameis.
ball.
Now that you say that, I think it was Jameis Winston. So
Yeah,
yeah, no,
because
that
he
sucks that they're
loves to sling
stuck
the
with
ball down the
Deshaun
field.
Watson.
It does because they have some solid players. I mean, obviously Nick Chubb is getting up there in age, but he finally got back from his injury. Jerry Jeudy, solid wide receiver. They have the opportunity to draft a guy like Travis Hunter at number 2 who could completely change this offense. Still got
Yeah,
Myles Garrett and Jock on the defensive side of things. So they have a solid team. I think they're another team that I'm surprised they're sticking with their same coaching unit because they have solid players, but a 3-win season. I understand
yeah,
you lost your starting quarterback halfway through, but your backup quarterback arguably played better than your starter. I mean, he took them into Pittsburgh, or that still was in Cleveland, but still against Pittsburgh, game-winning drive in the snow. That's something that the Cleveland Browns at the beginning of the season you would have never anticipated. But
yeah. I
either way,
mean, it's just it's a
they got a
situation
lot
the
of
Browns
holes they
have
got to
been
fill.
in thousands of times. So
Hmm.
will they fix it this time? We'll have to see.
Yeah, I highly doubt it. A team like the Dolphins, I mean, I think they still have plenty of weapons to make the playoffs, but can you
Yeah.
really still bank on Tua staying healthy after all these concussions? And is it even right for him to still be playing? I wouldn't be surprised if the Dolphins maybe make that decision to start looking at quarterbacks elsewhere. I mean, I know they love Tua, but at some point you got to start thinking realistically. This guy's an injury risk, and when he goes down, the entire season is a wash.
I feel like that's kind of the main thing with that because they have a good team offensively and defensively. It's just when Tua's not on the field, they're not putting up points. And
Hmm.
when Tua is on the field, most of the time they're dropping 30 bombs, 40 bombs. Like
Yep.
they have a I mean, they're not gonna anymore because it looks like Requan's out, but I mean, there's no confirmation on that,
Well,
but
yeah.
it looks like Requan's out.
As a fantasy coach that drafted Jalen Waddle this year, I certainly
And
was part of that crew that was hurt by Tua's concussion and not having him in, and the Dolphins' offense just completely turning into a dumpster fire.
yeah.
So, I mean, I guess another team, the New York Giants. Who knows? I mean, they can't really draft a quarterback now at number 3 if the top 2 that they want are off the board. They're done with the Daniel Jones era. I don't really know where the Giants can go from here besides maybe they pivot and sign a Sam Darnold. No, we're not doing that. we're not we're not doing this. No, Drew Lock had one good game. There's no way they bring him back to be the starting quarterback. But I guess it really all depends where they decide to go at number 3. Who knows? If the Browns do decide to pass on Shador or Cam Ward, Giants still have a chance to get their guy. So we may
Yeah.
still see them draft a quarterback.
Which I feel like they
But
will. I feel like they'll have the chance because I feel like the Browns I mean, we talked about this yesterday, but I feel like the Browns will take Hunter.
hmm yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. Like we were just saying, they're stuck with Deshaun Watson at least another 2 years.
Yeah.
Might as well get the best player off the board early. But the New York Giants, man, they're sticking with Dable and Joe Shane for at least another year. John Mayer is confident in them, I guess. Not confident enough to extend them, but confident enough to give them one more chance at this thing.
I don't
And
understand. I don't understand at all. And I don't like the Giants, but it's like it's not about liking or not liking. It's about the facts, and I don't understand why.
yeah,
Why is Dayball there still?
well, he was a coach of the year 2 years ago. He was coach of the year
Yeah.
in 2022, and then everything went downhill. The crazy thing with the Giants is that they got better, allegedly, between that playoff year and then Dable wins coach of the year. They go out and they acquire Darren Waller, who completely fell off a cliff as soon as he got to New York. He still had Saquon Barkley at that time, and
Yeah.
everything has just
You
fallen
make a
off for them.
bonehead move to get rid of Saquon to a division rival.
Yeah, I guess that's where the downfall really started for the New York
Not a
Giants.
division rival. Not a division. Well, yeah, you know
Yeah,
what I mean.
yeah, division rival.
Yeah,
Eagles,
well,
Giants. They don't
division.
like each other.
But, I mean, yeah, like I get you. Yeah. Just
Giants.
stupid. Just New York. Why? Just in general, New York. Why?
New
Buffalo.
York.
Thank you for not having New York
Yes,
in your name.
yes. the New York Bills are at least somewhat still giving us hope.
The New York Football Bills.
The New York Football Bills. There you go. All right, let's wrap up this NFL talk because there's been plenty of stuff going on across the association
We could go
and the
on and on.
NBA.
Just
I know we could.
stupid people.
What are these? Yeah, we're gonna play this out. We're gonna start having strictly NFL shows that we could just talk football the whole time.
We gotta figure it out.
But across the NBA, not too many crazy matchups last night, but there was one that here we go. There was one between two actually good teams. The Boston Celtics and the Denver Nuggets. Now, I didn't get a chance to watch this game live, but I got to say, I'm not surprised. Boston Celtics get the win 118 to 106. Jason Tatum, 29 points on the day. Kristaps, 25 points, 11 rebounds. Drew Holiday back in the lineup with 19. Jaylen Brown, 14 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, all across the board. Bruce, your Celtics looking pretty solid.
I like it. I watched part of that game. I was obviously at work, but I feel like it can't be too overhyped. It's a 12-point win. Yeah, it's against a good team. Yeah, it's in Denver. Yeah, but without Joker.
See, that's something I didn't realize at first going into this game was that Jokic didn't even play.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm excited that we beat the Nuggets, obviously, because you want to beat the Nuggets. You don't want to.
Still a big win.
Yeah, but at the same time, I'm not getting too overjoyed about it, because we are 27-10. Where compared, I don't know what we were last year, but we've been losing
Probably
more
better.
games than we were last season. So,
I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, you look at that roster.
Not caring
There's
too much.
nobody in the East right now. You have your contending teams like the Knicks and I don't know, maybe if the Bucks start to figure things out, the Cavaliers, but I still think the Celtics are another tier above those guys because of how deep they are. I mean, the Knicks starting five is phenomenal, but they don't have a bench that they can really turn to like the Celtics do. You see Peyton Pritchard, he had an off night last night, but he has games where he drops 25 off the bench just coming in and shooting threes.
Pritchard. There we go. Hauser, like Cornette, even. You know what I mean? There's like we have the depth, which
Somebody's
I love to see.
Thinking about pitchers.
Yeah. Pitchers. Yeah, like we have the depth. Like whether it be dependent on starters. Al, Drew. Like the Keita. We have enough. Xavier Tillman, he goes out there and he does stuff.
Like these are guys that you say their names and nobody's thinking, oh, these are studs in the NBA, but they go out there, they know their role and they make plays. They do their job, and the Celtics win games because of it.
And this is all that matters.
Yeah, there it is.
This is all that matters.
World champ. Yep, world champ. Congrats. Got to run it back though. Got to run it back, and another team that I think might at least have a chance at giving them a run for their money. They still don't have the playoff experience really yet, but they're getting better and better every day. That being the Oklahoma City Thunder.
Yeah,
and they take on the Cavaliers tonight.
That's gonna be that's a game. That's a game. That's not the right clip, but that's a game. That's just gonna be such a fun game to watch. Just because
what are the Thunder now?
Both teams
they win 16 straight, or is it still 15 straight wins? I think it's still 15.
It's still 15, but they have combined 9 losses.
Yeah, this Cavaliers team is a little more surprising to me than the Thunder. Everybody knew the Thunder were going to be good. It's especially impressive the Thunder are able to do this without their starting center in Chet Holmgren.
Yeah.
So that signing of Isaiah Hartenstein from the Knicks looks 10 times better just based on the fact that now he's starting and he's filling that gap that Chet has left with his hip injury. But this Cavaliers team has been surprising. I knew that they were solid. Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, great players. You would have told me that they would be 31-4
and on a 10-game win streak.
Yeah, this Cavaliers team, I did not expect this kind of jump. the thing is, they give me regular season success vibes. And what I mean by that is, to me, they look like the Toronto Raptors of 2018. They look
Mm.
like a team like the Utah Jazz years back with Donovan and Rudy Gobert. They're going to excel in the regular season, probably end up with the one seed in the East unless they fall off, and then end up losing in the second or at best third round. They don't scream NBA Finals to me. I don't see them beating the Celtics. I don't know if I see them beating the Knicks either. I certainly don't see them beating a lot of these juggernauts out in the West, like the Thunder or, the Nuggets, any of those teams. The Mavericks. I don't see them beating those teams. So I think the Cavaliers have a lot of regular season success, but they got to prove it to me in the playoffs still. And I know that's the case with every team. The Celtics needed to prove it in the playoffs until they finally got that ring. Cavaliers,
Yeah.
though, they scream regular season team for me.
I mean, and I'm gonna put this up just because of the fact that I feel like the Thunder might just smack the Cavs tonight. Like,
Mhm. Well,
I mean, it's
that's the
either
thing.
gonna
They're
be
both on win streaks. It's in
yeah,
Cleveland. Not that that
yeah,
really
no,
matters
they've
too
only
much,
lost
but it does
they've
make
only
an
lost one in
impact.
Cleveland. They're 18-1 at home, but
So yeah, that could be a
the
big swing.
Thunder,
Cleveland's
dude,
only
the
a two and a
Thunder are
half
just
point favorite.
crazy right now. They it's all
I
obviously
know.
the Cavs have been
Eh,
crazy too, but the Thunder is just a different breed.
Yep. And I mean, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander clearly playing at an MVP level. I don't know if anybody can stop him right now,
That man's
because the back-to-back wins that they had over the Knicks and the Celtics, that tells me most of what I need to know. This is an insane. Just you look at the 4 games that they're starting January with: the Clippers, who had Kawhi Leonard return, so maybe not the best team in the West, but still, you got Kawhi, you got James Harden, they're at full strength. Then you have the Knicks, and then the Celtics. And luckily for them, all these games are at home, but still, you're playing some of the best teams in the NBA. You win
yeah.
those 3, and now you've got the Cavaliers on the road, followed by the Knicks again in Madison Square Garden. Then you finally get a stretch where you have the Wizards, the 76ers. Then you're facing again the Cavs, the Mavericks. They have a tough January schedule.
And even the end 2024, they played the Timberwolves, they played the Grizzlies, which I mean, they're not the Celtics,
Still
like,
solid
but
teams
they're
though.
still solid teams,
Yep.
and
Still teams
I'm
that
pretty
can
sure
beat you
they
any
beat the
night.
Grizzlies by like 25 or something. So it's like
Yeah, they ended up beating the Grizzlies by 24, 130 to
they're
106 was that final. So this Thunder team, they've had a tough stretch, and they've still been able to get the job done. It's all going to come down to, will their lack of playoff experience hurt them this year? Because we saw that's what happened to them last year. I think now they got that losing experience in the playoffs. They're coming back different this season, and especially if they can stay healthy, they're my favorite to win the West right now. I don't really see a team out there that can beat them. If I had to pick a finals matchup right now, I'd have to go Oklahoma City and Boston. I just think that those two teams are head and shoulders above the rest of the league.
yeah, I agree, and I mean, and yeah, in the West, I mean, Denver hasn't looked all that great.
They've
You
struggled.
know, the
Lakers
Memphis
haven't
is
looked great.
there. Lakers haven't looked great.
Mavericks have been
Mavs haven't
hurt.
looked great.
Timberwolves regressed hard by trading Karl Anthony Towns for
Yeah,
Julius Randle.
that's a crazy move. That
Hmm.
if we were talking about that when that happened,
Yeah, I
like
mean
wow.
the Timberwolves
The
went
Rockets are
from
second in the West.
yeah, the West standings are pretty interesting. You got Houston and Memphis at 2 and 3. Would not have expected that. The Rockets too. They're a strong young team. I guess the Grizzlies as well, led by now that Ja Morant is back. When Ja got hurt, I think a lot of people forgot he was playing like a top 3 point guard in the NBA for a while. He
Yeah, he
was
was pulling
certainly
out the
one of the
shots.
best. Exactly. He was certainly one of the best point guards in the league. So now that Ja Morant is back, and they still have solid guys like Desmond Bain, the draft acquisition of Zach Edey, still Jaren Jackson Jr. Grizzlies are certainly a solid team. Don't worry,
I
Vinley. We're
agree.
done talking about the Timberwolves. But we will talk about a former Timberwolves player pulling the same crap he did in Minnesota, in Philadelphia, in Chicago, and now he's pulling it in Miami. That being Jimmy Butler. As we saw last week, he basically said he doesn't enjoy playing in Miami anymore. Bruce, I don't know if the clip is up, but Jimmy Butler is pretty much checked out of the Miami Heat.
What will fix it? What do you want to see happen to fix it?
What do I want to see happen? I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball, and wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to joy back. I'm happy here, off the court, but I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop, and I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
It's ridiculous, man. It's just ridiculous.
It's like it's I mean, he's pulled this load of crap before. I mean,
It's
it's kinda just so
it's ridiculous.
I don't
You're
even
making
know how to
$50 million
explain it.
to play
Yeah.
basketball in sunny South Beach. What do you
Yeah.
mean you have no joy? Stand in the corner and shoot threes. Jeez. Just play
Yeah,
defense.
he's
I don't care.
the past
Like,
like
it's
5
ridiculous.
seasons, he's just become a pain. Like if he played football, I'd say he had like CTE or something because Buddy, I don't know what half the stuff that comes out of his mouth is anymore.
It's ridiculous. Like, I understand you want to get paid. This is his last chance to get paid as an NBA player. He's going to be 36 next year. No
Yeah.
team is going to give a max contract to a 36-year-old. We saw how that max contract that Philly gave to Paul George is working out so far. He's averaging like 13 points. Okay,
Yeah.
not worth the max contract. Jimmy's got to start to understand he's not a max contract player at 36 years old. And he can't just keep on going from I'm going to sit out half the regular season, turn it on in the playoffs, playoff Jimmy. And I'm grateful for the memories that Jimmy Butler has given me as a Miami Heat fan to be able to watch a couple of finals runs. You know, obviously never got the job done in some unfortunate circumstances, but at this point, he's got to understand this is no longer his team. It's time for Bam Adebayo and Tyler Hero to take the reins, and Jimmy needs to play his role. I think it's been a long time since his days in Chicago when he wasn't the best player on the team and he forgot how to play a certain role. But that's how you have longevity in the NBA. You can't always be the best guy. Sometimes you just got to be the guy for the vibes. Sometimes you just got to be the guy to be a locker room leader and go out there and play hard. And his whole philosophy used to be, I want to do whatever it takes to win. I want to bring a championship here. I'll do whatever it takes. You're not doing whatever it takes. They told you what to do to win, and you got pissy, and now you're distracting the team. It's absolutely ridiculous, man. Can't take it anymore. I feel like I'm watching, my best friends break up right in front of my eyes. I'm in pain. I'm in pain over here. I feel the heartbreak in my-
I was gonna let you
Yes.
go off on that one because that's more of a it hits you a little harder than it hits me.
It does. It does. I already traded Jimmy Butler away on NBA 2K. Like I can't take it anymore. But it's okay because I have my Florida Gators.
Bro, what
Got
a
a big
game
dub.
last night.
Big dub yesterday. I'm not gonna lie. I put this game on. I looked over. I see that it's 8-0 or 6-0 game to start. I'm like, all right, they're off to a real good start here. I go back.
12-0 run to start. 12-0 run
There
to
you
start.
go. 12-0. See, once I saw it was 6-0, they go to a commercial break. I go back to playing Xbox. I turn back around. It's like 15-4.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, Florida's on one today. I mean, Tennessee in 2 halves of play, in 40 minutes of basketball, made 12 shots. The number 1 team in the nation made 12 shots in 40 minutes. And listen, this is one of those games where the shots just weren't falling for Tennessee. That happens. Sometimes your shots just aren't going to fall.
Yeah.
It's also a dominant display from Florida in terms of everybody giving a little bit, because it wasn't even that they were led by their leading scorer in Walter Clayton Jr. He shot 3 for 10 yesterday. He didn't even have that good of a game. It was Elijah Martin stepping up. It was Denzel Aberdeen stepping up with 16
Alex
points off the
Condon.
bench. Yup. It's all these guys stepping up when your star player isn't shooting well, and the defense just absolutely ridiculous. Let's see. They ended up forcing 12 turnovers on the Tennessee Volunteers last night. And the Gators had 11 turnovers themselves.
I was about to say this game was just insane because Florida's a top 5 scoring team in the nation. Tennessee is a top 5 defensive team in the nation. So, I knew it was gonna it was either gonna be the defense didn't hold up or whatever. 30-point game is not what I was expecting.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Especially, this is a big bounce back game for Florida after getting their first loss of the season to Kentucky in a game in which you gave up 106 points. I mean, Florida scored 100 in that one.
Yeah.
Kentucky couldn't miss. Every shot they put up was going in. And then you go into a game like this. To go from getting your first loss of the season against Kentucky, and now you have to play the number 1 team in the nation, the only team that hasn't lost a game yet, and you hold them to 43 and beat them by 30.
Yeah.
This Florida Gators team is scary, and I'm hoping come March they can finally get the job done for me. First time that they would win the championship since I believe it was 2008, 2007 when Joakim Noah and Al Horford won the championship with them. So it's been a while since my Florida Gators have won the championship.
Florida looks just insane this season. Yeah, they lost to Kentucky. That game was a crazy game. I thoroughly enjoyed just sitting and watching that game. But and then Kentucky went and they lost last night to Georgia. Which I mean, Georgia's not a bad team, but they don't have them ranked. But Georgia's not a bad team. They beat them on their home court, whatever. But it just proves, as a whole, how absolutely just one, insane college basketball is, and then 2, how insane the SEC is.
Yep, I was gonna say the SEC conference right now, without question, the best in college basketball by far. Just looking right now, they have 3, 5, 8, 9 ranked teams.
Yeah.
9 of the 25 ranked teams are all from the SEC. That's an absurd number. So March Madness is going to be fun, watching all these teams battle in the early rounds, because obviously you're not going to have 4 SEC teams in the Final Four. You're going to have teams from different sides of the bracket. So
yeah. It's like half the bracket's going to be like SEC Big 12. It's it's crazy. And then Big 10, ACC's kind of falling off. Big East is there. Then you have the Memphises and the San Diego States from smaller conferences, but there's just powerhouses. There's just powerhouses all around in the SEC.
Exactly. I mean, if you had to ask me right now if I would take, maybe the top 3 SEC teams or the entire field in March Madness, right now, I'm taking the SEC teams because I don't see many teams in the entire nation that would be able to beat them. And even a team like UConn, who's gone back-to-back already with a couple losses on their
UConn ain't them anymore.
Exactly.
UConn
they've officially gotten into washed territory.
Listen, they had their fun.
Yeah. And speaking of having fun, Bruce, I had fun doing this show with you again today. Always a great time. The Regular Fan Show, a show hosted by fans for the fans. And Bruce, are you going to hit that basketball shot today?
Yeah,
Day 2.
We'll switch up the.
We'll switch the camera angle. Bruce is going to try day 2.
Bang.
Let's see if he can get. Let's see if he can get this shot going.
Oh, it's too much
Bruce
pressure.
Bruno dribbling up the court. 3 seconds left on the clock, and he fires just short. Bit of an air ball. The boos are crowding in from the stadium. Everybody's yelling at Bruce to get out.
I feel like Jimmy Butler right now.
Oh, come on, man. Come on.
Yeah.
Too soon.
How does it feel?
soon.
Don't start with me. Don't start with me. I'll start in with you.
Too soon. All right.
Oh,
That'll do it for us today here on the Regular Fan Show. We'll be back live Saturday morning on YouTube, Twitch. If you're on YouTube, Twitch, drop a follow, drop a like, drop a subscribe. Only takes a couple seconds out of your day, but
And ding
it
the
will go a
bell.
long way for us. Ding the bell. Exactly. Ding that
the
bell. Get those notifications on so you'll always know when we're going live. We'll be live next Saturday morning, 11 a.m. to 12 noon. This is Vinny Fredericks and Bruce Juno from the Regular Fan Show signing off. Have a good day, everybody.
Peace.